Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to the first edition of premarketinfo.com for 2012. Well, Dennis, looks like we're ending the year, beginning of the year, just like we ended a lot of the days last year with a big move overnight.
Joel, it's the same thing we've been talking about all year, that all the big moves happen overnight. It's all about overnight trading, I guess, now. The liquidity is the lowest overnight, and obviously last night somebody wants the market higher, and they're really propping it up, starting the new year with a bang, Joel. We're up 20 points.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ranges over the last few days of the year, Thursday and Friday, very tight ranges in the S&Ps, not even mustering a 15-point range. And then, lo and behold, you gap up, nearly 10 points and then just keep going. So now we're going to look at the S&Ps. We got a Globex high at 1280. That is just above the high from October 28th at 1278.50. Above that, you have the high that we made at the end of October at 1283.50. But right now, if that Globex high stands, we have a downside target of 1258.50. Globex low currently stands at 1271. If that stands as the low of the day, we have an upside target way up at 1292.50. At this point in the session, 1275.50 is a good number. That'll be our swing number in order to go back up and test the Globex high of 1280. Moving on to the Big Ten, the biggest of the 10, Apple Computer, trading up $3.62, cleared that $400 level, when we were gone, Dennis, settled the year at 405. Above the 4-day high of 409.99, we have a gap to fill up to 415.99. That was back when they released some disappointing earnings back in October. Coming back on the downside, I'd find support at 405, which was the close, coupled with Friday's low at 403.49.
Yeah, wow. What a run Apple's had here in the last little while, along with Google. Google's been moving higher too. Above this 409.90, you're right, Joel, starts to open up. Couple tops up there at the 421, 422 area, 52-week highs, 426.70. That's probably not going to come into play. The only like Apple, it's been running up towards the end of the year. It's getting some follow through here this morning, but everybody wants to own that in their portfolio at the end of the year. So there's definitely some window dressing in a stock like Apple, where, if you don't own Apple, by the end of the year you want to own Apple, so you can tell your clients that, hey, we own Apple. So keep that in mind, that it has had a heck of a run here. I don't know if I see it, I don't know if I see it giving it all back today. We are up 20 points on the S&P, but there could be some sellers coming in here, maybe even later afternoon, as there's definitely some other reasons for the run up here before the end of the year, Joel.
Okay, ExxonMobil currently trading up $1.13. Quiet day on Friday. Would have been nice to play it going through Thursday and Friday's highs there at 85.29 to 33, a little double top there. Peaked above it. Also trading above the 4-day high at 85.63. And then getting above that, Dennis, I'm having a little hard time finding resistance. I have 86.78. And you have to go all the way back to May 3rd of last year to find that level. So that'll be a good point on the upside. Probably surrounded by some size at the 87 number. Coming back on the downside, if we get a sell-off, we get back down to that 85.30 level, those old highs. I expect to find some support in ExxonMobil.
This is a tough one to call, Joel. Stock trading up here, 85.89, up over $1. You're right. You get above here, this 85.30 area, and it starts to open up. 52-week high is 88.23. I know Chevron's been approaching its 52-week high, too. You almost wonder if they're going to make a run at these in the next few days. It definitely opens up above 85.30, so if we do indeed open up there, be short the stock.
Okay, IBM kind of just been settling in here after making the all-time high back in the 193 and change area. Dipped under 180, but not for very long. We got a close right near the low there. 183.88 was the close, and the low at 183.85. We're firmly 2 points away from that. Look for a challenge of Friday's high at 186.48, and then you also got the 10-day high at 188.01. Once again, coming back on the downside, we get anywhere near the close or Friday's low, 184, let's call it. You'll find good support in IBM.
Stock trading 185.70, which is up almost 2 points here, Joel. That 186.48 number, that was Friday's high. Maybe you look at that one. If we can, that might be a little bit of initial resistance. We start to get above there, then it starts to open up again too. Remember, 190 is a huge psychological number for you swing traders out there. That's not going to come into play, but it's always a good idea to have targets in mind too. If especially, we are taking a little longer term. We're not scalpers anymore, so we try to look a little longer term. And 190 is a huge number for that stock as well. So $4 away from there, but that's a number to keep in mind for you swing traders.
Okay, Dennis, I went to do my Microsoft numbers. I haven't, been doing the numbers for quite some time here, and I basically just could copy and paste my Microsoft numbers from 10 days ago and put them in. And lo and behold, here we are. Do we have a breakout or a fake out here? We're trading above that critical 26.20 level, currently trading at 26.35. Been waiting forever and a day for that to break above 26.20. Is it time to fade that move above it, or is it gone?
Man, Joel, this has just been winding up. You're exactly right. The whole month just kept topping out here in this 26.10 area. We are above there now, trading 26.35. It does appear to be breaking out. If we do indeed open up at this 26.35, expect some support, this old 26 to 26.10 area if we're to pull back. Rally mode, it's kind of open up to $27. So I could see a 60 cent, maybe not today, but over the next couple of days, I could see a test of that 27. And we get up 27. That was a huge level in November, so I'd expect 27 to give some pretty stiff resistance. But before that, it's kind of open, Joel.
Yeah, that's the November 14th high was 27. You had a high on November 16th at 26.51, so let's keep an eye on that. And I imagine if this thing gets down anywhere near 26.15, 26.20, you should find excellent support there in Mr. Softy. Moving on to Chevron Corporation, settled at 106.40. Trading up smartly here at the 108 level. That is still below the 4-day high at 108.49, so I'd look for a challenge of that, or at least wait to short until it gets to that level. Above that, a number that, Dennis, we've been talking about for months now, that 110.01 level. Sure looks like it could come into play in the next few days if this beginning of the year rally holds up. Interestingly, with Chevron Corporation, you close right near the low as well, 106.32 to 106.40. Excellent support there. Also, you'll find support at the 107.50 level, which was Friday's high.
There's two numbers to think about on the upside on this one, Joel. 109, there's been a seller there for quite a while, 100,000 shares. That's going to be your first area of resistance. So expect 108, then the high 108s. Expect that area to provide some good resistance. Those are high frequency guys. They like to lean on that size. If it takes out that 109, then the 110.01 number, $110, that's what comes into play next. So expect, I'd expect high frequency resistance in the high 108s. If the 109 goes, then expect the high frequency resistance to be in the high 109s.
Yeah, you've had 4 or 5 days of very tight ranges in the Chevron Corporation, so winding up for a big move as usual. Moving on to J&J, Dennis. Got through that 66 level last week, made a high at 66.03. Currently trading above that level, so I call that mild support at the 16. I don't think I'd want to be long this thing if we took out 16. Going back, you got Friday's high to gap to fill at 65.93. Another stock that closed right near the low, 65.52 was the low with the 58 close. Above that 66.03, Dennis, we have a high that we made at excuse me, what 66.03 wasn't last week's high. 66.32 was. Above the 66.32, you got to go back to July 21st of last year to get this 66.79 level to come into play.
Yeah, there's some numbers up there, 66, 62. I've seen some size up there. Interesting enough, I see a lot of sellers in the buck lower, like I'm offering 65. I almost wonder if those are fake offers because there's some sizable ones offering significantly lower on J&J. Obviously, stock's trading 66.13. So either somebody just wants to get out on the opening print or somebody's throwing some fake offers in the buck there from the New York buck. But regardless, keep an eye on that. It actually looks like from a book perspective that it could start to get weak here. 66 was always big on that one too.
Okay, Procter & Gamble just marching up here, currently trading at 60, what do we got, 67.05. You had 4 consecutive highs, Dennis, at 66.95 to 66.98, buffeted by the May 31st high is 67. Coming back on the downside, you'll find support at the close at 66.71. And then you had 3 consecutive lows in the 66.50 area. Is there a seller at 67, Dennis, people have been leaning on?
There sure is, Joel. Is a big seller there. And the seller, I do see him there again this morning. I think that's why you're seeing it trade only. It's up so high because it's going to have a struggle. It may open, and then take out that 67, but I think it really struggles to open over that 67. And just for full disclosure, I do have a trading position on in Procter & Gamble. And I do have a trading position on in Johnson & Johnson as well.
Okay. AT&T shrugs off the failed merger news, makes a strong move up. Now we're trading in the 30 handle, 30.24 close, trading up 22 cents, not way above, but substantially above Friday's high. You'll find support back down at Friday's high end to close, 30.24 to 30.30. Coming on the upside, Dennis, we start to run into some highs from July 15th, 30.70 was the high, and July 14th, 30.93 could come into play in AT&T.
Stock has been breaking out here. People love that yield, 5.8%. I think that's obviously why the stock keeps drifting higher. All these dividend stocks have been in favor for the last couple of months here. If you look at your highest yielders, those were your best performers in the last couple of months. It looks like it's following through a bit here again this morning. AT&T trading up 22 cents, 30.46. 30.50 looks okay, like a first stopper, but I wouldn't be surprised if it took that out and then eventually went and tried to test that whole number theory in play.
Okay, General Electric being generous to shareholders this morning, trading up smartly 32 cents, trading above the 5-day high, or just below the 5-day high, which is 18.28. Above that level, I'd be looking for the July 27th high of 18.51. Coming back on the downside, I expect to find support at the close, 17.91, which real close to Friday's low at 17.88.
18.25, seeing a little bit of size there. That might be what's putting a lid on it here in the pre-market. 18.23 is where it's trading right now. Opens up and starts to take out that 18.25, then you can think about going higher. But I think that's your initial level of resistance.
Okay, Coca-Cola, which was strong the last couple weeks of the year, made a Thursday and Friday's high here at 70.19 to 29, the old double top there. I'd look for good resistance there. Above that, I see another number at the 70.41 level. But the big resistance over the next couple of days could be our September 21st high at 71.07. Interestingly, this stock closed right on its low print at 69.97. Below that, you have Wednesdays and Thursdays lows at the 69.40 to 51 level.
70.5, Joel. That was a big number there last week where there was some size. I don't see it there this morning, but it might be there again. Only thing I'm noticing, just overall in your defensive stocks, I'm noticing that they're not that strong here, being up 19 points. A lot of these stocks aren't trading up, more than a quarter or 3/4%. And I'm looking at the book, and a lot of the defensive ones look weak. So it might be a little bit of sector rotation here happening today. Commodities are very, very strong. Financials are very, very strong. And some of your defensive names might be relatively weak. Now, that's not saying they're going to open down, but they may not open up, 1.5% like the market's up right now, Joel.
Okay, that's a wrap of the SPUs and the Big Time. We'll be back with our market movers.